Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the green stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. We're in a different location. I'm still at home, just downstairs in the living room. We've basically put some like anti-UV film on my windows because it was getting way too hot in that room when I was working from home, so it's a bit darker and it's harder to film with natural lighting. So I'm downstairs today, like I said, and yeah, I'm back, at least for today. We'll see how it goes from now on. So I didn't mean to leave it for this long. I think I checked this morning and I didn't realize I actually filmed my last video end of January, not end of February as I thought. So I owe you, as the title says, about 3.5 months worth of stitching. Few words about the channel if you see me for the first time. My name is Maria. I am a stitcher who lives in the UK. I have been for 7 years now, and I cross stitch. I've been stitching for about 10 years now. All sorts of different designers, designs, styles. I love a combination of flosses and beads, so you'll see a lot of mill hill on this channel for sure. Specialty stitches here and there, again in a combination with stitches like in your Owl Forest and in your Jeanette Douglas, that kind of stuff. I sew my own project bags. I have been for a couple of years now. I also dye some of my own fabric. I still buy dyed fabric, obviously, from other dyers. I live in the UK with my husband and our 2 cats, who might make an appearance because this is their room basically. So they, they might have a walk around behind me on the sofa. Yeah, I think that's about it. And I think I'll start with a quick life update because it kind of affected my stitching and is kind of the reason why it took me so long to come back. For those of you who haven't seen my post that I made on Instagram a couple of months ago, I went to see my family back in Belarus in March, and unfortunately on the way back, once I already landed in London and I was on my way back home, we stopped at a service station to just go for a wee and grab some food. And while we were there, literally away for 5 minutes from the car, which we did lock, all of my luggage, including my bag with my laptop and all of my documents that I had with me, were stolen, unfortunately. And so was the carry-on suitcase that was full of stitching. So in each of the categories I will show you today, which is finishes, whips and starts, probably not in whips, in finishes and starts, I will be inserting pictures of some of the designs that I unfortunately no longer have. I will be restitching all of that 99%, but I'll talk you through each individually when we get to it. I hope you can hear me a bit better today. I've got a microphone, which I hope will make the quality of the sound a little bit better. So yeah, and you can imagine having to sort out all of your documents and like buy new clothes and new underwear even. You kind of, it knocks you down a little. And for me, the hardest bit was the stitching, to be honest with you, because you can restore clothes. I don't really buy any like expensive designer brand clothes. I like my thrifting, so that wasn't the worst bit of it. And yeah, I had some purchases that I made in Belarus, stitchy wise. I mean, I had gifts that my friends got me, who I met in Minsk while I was there. I had my stitching that I took there, and yeah, so that was, I think, the hardest bit. It's been a couple of months now. I have been moving on as much as I can. That's why I think I haven't been watching much of Flosstube. However, I have been stitching. I did take a break in March, and March has been the least productive stitchy-wise month for me so far since I started keeping a record, which is about a couple of years now. But I came back swinging in April, had a lot of good time stitching in April, lots of progress. So like I said, I'll show you all of this today. I think that's it for that sad part of the life update. For any normal, you know, what I've been up to, watching stitching, watching, reading and playing and stuff, I will come back to that later in the video. And I think we should get down to what we're here for, which is to look at my finishes, starts and whips. So yeah, I thought I might make a video at the end of February before I go on holiday. I think I didn't get the chance. And so, like I said, it's about 3.5 months worth of stitching here. I think to get them out of the way, I've got my notes here. Let's start with the 3 finishes that I had that were lost. So all in all, in these 3.5 months, I have had 9 finishes. Most of them were smalls, you will see, but one was a really nice and kind of unexpected finish, which I'm really proud of. So we'll be starting with the 3 that got lost, and I will, like I said, 2 of them I will restitch from scratch. So the first one, and they're not in any particular order, just kind of the way I've written them down, is it might have been a start over the last couple of months as well. I'm not 100% sure. So this was the Wendy the Winter Witch, which is a design by Brooks Books. What I do with these Brooks Books ones, because they call for so much cryonic and so many colors of beads and you know, different types of cryonic, you need your number 16, and you need sometimes ribbons and stuff. So what I'll do is just go through my stash. I have accumulated a collection of cryonic, and I think I have about 50 to 60 spools of different colors. Some of them are blending, some of them are number 4, and so on. I got them in grab bags at some point on eBay. And what I usually do is I just go through my stash and try and find the best ones that match. And if I have nothing that goes with the design completely, then I'll get a new one, or the one, you know, called for. So Wendy the Winter Witch was finished in these last few months, and I loved stitching her. I used white perforated paper for all of her. I like keeping them all, you know, one color of paper for the whole design. I swapped the white and the blended color on her cuffs, what's it called, collar, and the kind of rim of her head to white Riolis wool that I had left over from the kits that I stitched before. I think beads are the same as called for, and then I think some of my cryonics are slightly different shades, but very, very close to the called for ones. So Wendy is definitely going to be a restitch. I love these designs. I love Brooks Books, and I'm really glad I have all 4 of them. Right, next one was, let me show you the book first. You will probably see this book again later today, because I had a start from it as well. I was on the tram one day just going to work, and I saw someone stitching a design out of this book, which is the Magical Cross Stitch by Lindsay Swearingen. I believe that's correct. She's the Tuscan Cardinal on Instagram, and the stitcher there was stitching a different design, but once I got the book and had a proper look at the designs, I fell in love with quite a few of them. And the first one I decided to go with was the Ouroboros, which is the serpent snake that is eating its own tail, which is from, I believe, Scandinavian mythology, but I believe it's quite a universal symbol that you can meet in a lot of different cultures. So the whole book is actually full of designs called for in DMC. However, I've decided to zhuzh it up, so to speak, and I have I'll be inserting the photos I had. I have taken a piece of hand-dyed fabric I had in my stash, which I actually hand-dyed for a different design that I didn't end up using for, because it was a bit too dark, but it felt like it was absolutely perfect for this. So this was platinum Belfast 32 count, and then I overdyed it with taupe red dye, and I just pulled hand-dyed cotton from Stash. And if anyone's interested in particular colors that I used, you can message me. I still have the electronic pattern I've made for myself for Cross Stitch Saga, so that I could stitch it with my conversion. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, it was in the suitcase that got stolen, so I will be restitching this most likely, because I really, really like this design. And I think I might actually have either a frame or a round box that is perfect to FFO it onto. And then the third finish that got lost is a Russian brand called Neocraft. So what they're really famous for is using eco leather, which is faux leather, and making laser perforation in it for you to cross stitch. So you usually get, you know, the piece of leather, the eco leather, the flosses, the pattern, everything you need to stitch the design, the needles as well. I have had a few of their designs before. I think most of them, I don't think I have any here now. Most of them have been scissor keeps and little needle cases. And yeah, I saw them release a few different new collections, and I've decided to stitch a couple of the designs. So one of them was this thistle passport cover, and it uses gamma cotton embroidery flosses. So I stitched that one fully when I was in Minsk over my holiday in March, and I was going to bring it back, sew it for myself so I can use it for one of my passport covers, but unfortunately, like I said. And this is the one that I don't know if I'll be restitching anytime soon, just because I don't have access to these kits here in the UK. And I think these are just such a lovely way to have cross stitch, because they are, most of the designs they have are something you can put to use. It's not just, you know, cross stitch that you'll put on the wall or put on a shelf. It's passport covers, bookmarks, Christmas ornaments. What else have they got? Like card holders, all sorts of different designs. Okay, and then the rest of the designs that I finished are actually here with me, except for one, which I gifted. Let's actually start with that one. So going on with the theme of Neocraft, one of the designs I bought for myself when I was back at home was this glasses case with a bumblebee and honeycomb. And the moment my mom saw it in my cart, she fell in love with it and asked me to stitch it for her, which I did gladly, because it was also her birthday while I was there in March. So I stitched it for her, I think in just a day. I think it took longer probably to sew, you know, all the parts together, to hand stitch them, rather than doing the cross stitch itself. So this used the same kind of ecru color eco leather, gamma flosses as well, and I think one of the gamma flosses was a cloud that is like a fluffy, it's similar to Whisper but a little fluffier, and I think it's more on the synthetic side rather than being, you know, natural with wool and stuff, but I might be wrong. So yeah, Mom is happily using the glasses case while she's, you know, running errands and stuff, and keeping her glasses safe, which I'm glad that you know, stayed with her. All right, I think the rest, like I said, are designs that I have here with me on hand. Let's probably start with some Mill Hill. Obviously, like I said, I love me some Mill Hill, and so the two designs that I stitched in the last couple of months. Let's start with the sort of winter one. I have been loving this chickadee and have been meaning to stitch it for quite some time now. And I finally got myself a kit and stitched it. It took me a few days. I think I might have started her at the Stitchy Day in Nottingham in February. So there's quite a few different colors of beads, a lot of matte beads, which look really, really stunning. And then the only thing that was different in my kit, and they've left, you know, how they do little notes, Mill Hill do, the matte beads that are sewn on here as these like larger berries or something, they were swapped from a lighter color to this kind of mocha one. So I absolutely loved working on it, and I FFO'd it into a magnet, and I'm just putting it on my magnetic board with all of my needle minders, you know, as the seasons change. Because most of the Mill Hills that are winter themed, I actually FFO as Christmas ornaments, and I thought I don't have any that are on my board, so that would be a good idea to do that. And then the other Mill Hill that I stitched was this lovely jeweled pear. So they're not actually in a series, but they kind of are. So there's jeweled pear, there's jeweled apple, and jeweled pumpkin. I now have all three kits. Again, got lucky getting them from, I think I got all of them from 1 to 3. So I stitched the pear one. And this was on, so the chickadee used everything called for from the kit, and then I used everything from the kit for the pear as well. It's this lovely kind of light green perforated paper. It's got lovely DMC colors and beads, and this beautiful large glass bead for decorating the top of the design. So this one as well I FFO'd into a magnet, and it lives now, while it's still springtime, on my magnet board in my craft room upstairs. The other small-ish design I finished was Nightlight, that was designed for my friend Lera Stitch Power by Mandarin's Design. It was an exclusive for Lera's event in Moscow in December, and she gifted me the pattern, the perforated paper for it, and the embellishment pack with beads. Basically, it's not meant to be stitched on, I mean, it can be obviously, but I think everyone either stitched it on fabric or on perforated plastic canvas. I don't really stitch on plastic. I do prefer perforated paper. So Lera is not a big fan, and she had a piece of it in her stash, so she gifted it to me with the rest of the design. So because it is perforated paper, I stitched 3/1 instead of 2/1. And I think in one of the blends I used 2 strands of one color and 1 of the other, and I love how it turned out. I think it looks absolutely stunning. The beads are so beautiful. The combination of the matte ones and the kind of like petrol-ish ones and those gray moonstony ones that are in the jar's lid. Absolutely love this design, and again I have FFO'd it into a magnet, and it lives on the same needle minder board as the rest of them, and it's kind of multi-seasonal, I would say, so it's up there most of the time for now, until I get bored and then I can swap it for something else. But it's beautiful. It's quite a large one compared to your standard small Mill Hill. It's quite large, as you can see. So yeah, but absolutely love it, and it was really nice to stitch it. I used my DMC from Stash and the beads, like I said, from the embellishment pack. And then I've done that. The last small design I finished is crinkled, but for a good reason. So I finished Barbara Anna's Santa's Flight. I got a stack of patterns of hers at the end of January. I believe I showed them to you in my last video, and I stitched one of them fully already. So this was done on 32 count Picture This Plus linen in color Dawn. No, sorry, Dawn is the one I stitched the Moira is saying hi. Dawn is the one I stitched the Nora's owl and hare on. This is Lock, L-O-C-H. The same I'm stitching my long dog on. So it's different from the cover, obviously, but I had it in stash and it was perfect for 2 designs, and I was actually going to do 2 of them. And the reason it's crinkled is because there's a start on the other side of it, and I'll show it to you in the start section. So I love this one. I think it's absolutely adorable. I just can't get over the whole cuteness of these tiny Santas riding birds and other animals, and it's definitely not the last one in the series I'm stitching. I've used all of the Called for DMC colors and stitched 2 over 2. And it's a tiny one. And the last finish that I had is actually an epic one. I mean, it's a big one, and I had the best time stitching it in April. I picked it up to make a little bit of progress, and it was one of those that just, you know, got me so excited about working on it that I couldn't put it away until I finished it. So I actually finished my garden carps by Owl Forest Embroidery. It's actually my only second finish by Owl Forest, which is surprising because I talk about them a lot and I love them, and I have quite a few of their designs in my stash, but only second finish so far. So I have, I think last time you saw it, it was done till here. So you saw the fish. I think I was working on it still at the February Nottingham Stitch Day and working on the carps. And then I think once I've come back from Belarus and I had my stitchy bug back, I finished the straight satin stitches here, you know, did the bridge, and then it just skyrocketed kind of because I started doing bits and pieces, and then it was so close to being finished that I just didn't want to put it aside anymore. So this was stitched using their floss pack in DMC, and I used 32 count witch-out linen in Water Lily, which is one of my absolute favorite colors and fabrics. And I used 2 strands over 2, except for where it's called 1 over 2, but 1 over 2 was only in specialty stitches. Absolutely stunning. I think I have some pictures I'll be inserting as well so you can see some of the details up close. I loved working on it. I love Owl Forest embroidery. It was an absolute joy. The combination again of the fabric and the colors, and I did say it and I'll say it again, the toughness, the toughness of the witch-out linen, I think works perfectly for these designs because of the amount of straight satin stitches, because you want some structure, you want the linen to hold its weave so your stitches stay taut and don't pull the fabric much, so you don't have holes showing, if that makes any sense. So I have the what are they called? Peach cranes from the same series as well. And I have the floss pack and the electronic pattern for it, and I'll be stitching it on the same exact fabric. And actually, this is actually a green wall as well, so it's fine. This wall behind me is going to be a wall of Japanese cross stitch. I've already agreed it with my husband. So the Japanese garden that I stitched by dimensions will go here. These 2 designs will go on 2 sides. Then I'll have my Purity, Strength and Truth by dimensions and many more Japanese designs. We're both, like I said, obsessed with Japanese culture. We're really hoping to go visit at some point soon. And yeah, quite a few of my designs are themed and, inspired by the beauty of Japan. So yeah, this will be the wall. So I'm hoping at some point this will be on there. that would be nice. Then it's a good spot to film my videos, actually. It's not, there isn't much cross stitch in the living room yet because one of the walls is a window, another wall is busy with the fireplace and the TV. Then the wall kind of opposite the TV where we normally sit and watch it has like cat shelves and ladders and stuff for them to, and hammocks where they sleep and they run around. So this is sort of the biggest space for me to fill in with my cross stitch. Whilst I was away, as in from filming videos, I have worked on 5 whips and I made quite good progress, one of them especially. So let's start with the design that is one of my oldest, I think. And for those who, again, are watching for the first time, I'll also show quickly the project bags or any kind of specialty materials I'm using. So the first one is 12 Days of Christmas by Stony Creek. And this could have been a finish if I just waited a few days, maybe a week, but I am not sure I will have any time except for this day to film for another month probably. So yeah. 12 Days of Christmas is a design by Stony Creek. I started it a couple of years ago around Christmas time, and I'm stitching this version with all of them together as opposed to the one where the middle is separate and the days are stitched as ornaments. It lives in this project bag. This is one of the older ones that I bought on Etsy, and this one uses DMC colors and a few hand dyes for the frames around each of the days, and I think the branches on the partridge in the middle and day one are hand dyed as well. And I think one color of beads as well, yes. So what I've added to the design during this time, like I said, I'm almost done. So I've worked on it for quite a few, let me see if I can, there we go. I've worked on it for quite some time, and I've added about 2,500 stitches to it since you saw it last. Before, as you know, I was stitching a day a month, or at least every time I picked it up, I tried to stitch one full day and then move on. However, because I only had 3 left, and it's a lot of small groups of colors because of the, you know, musical instruments or clothes on these characters and stuff. So I just decided to, as long as they fit, and they do, 3 of them in the height of my frame, I decided to just stitch them all at once and just finish the design completely. So 2,500 stitches added, as you can see, and I am really hoping I will show you the finish next time I see you. So it is stitched on same fabric as the carp, so it's 32 count witchet linen in color Water Lily, and you will see many more designs stitched on this fabric because I love it. So all of the days from 2 to 10 are complete, including the design in the middle, except for beads. I have yet to sew on the beads, but there aren't many, and they're only sort of spotty. They're not in, I don't even think they're in all of the designs, so I didn't want to have to, you know, add felt or anything in between while I was stitching it. I'd rather just do the beading at the end in this case because it's just one color. Next design I worked on is, where is the project bag for it? Next design I worked on is, again, one of my older whips, and it is an anchor kit called English Sampler. I absolutely love it. I think it's stunning with the white and red roses around the design, and it's the map of England with some sites and names of the cities, basically. I love this one, and what happened was that I finally managed to scan and get an electronic pattern for the design in Cross-stitch Saga, which is very, very handy because it makes it so much easier to stitch it. So what I have done since you saw it last is quite a lot. I haven't worked on it in a while, and then I picked it up in April, I want to say. So here's where I am with it today. I've added about 2.3 thousand stitches, 2300 stitches, and I've added these 3 roses completely with backstitch. I've added the Windsor Castle, the I don't remember what it's properly called, you know, Canterbury, the Archbishop of Canterbury's headdress. I'm not sure what it's called, sorry. Some of the border, some of the towns, and this, I think it's Clifton Suspension Bridge as well. And it's been so much fun working on it. And now knowing that I can see the percentage and the progress in Cross-stitch Saga, and seeing the amount of stitches I'm doing and not having to count it by hand or cross it out on a paper pattern makes things just so much easier and really makes me want to pick it up. So the 2.3 thousand stitches actually got it to a third, so it's about 33% now, which is amazing, and I didn't even expect it to get this far, but like I said, because of me using Saga, it's been fantastic. Love it. I was rewatching Bridgerton in April, so this was the perfect stitch to go with it. And I think I was actually doing I was stitching the backstitch on Hastings when I was watching season 1, so that's perfect. Yeah, and then next design I worked on, I think this one only came out in February before I went on holiday. I worked on Purity, Strength and Truth, which is a design by Dimensions, and it's a kit that lives in my bag with lovely books. I think I got it in Whitby when we went on holiday one day, and what I managed to add to it is I tried sort of working a bit more on it, trying to finish it as well, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I've only added 1,000 stitches, but still that's progress. So here's where I am today. So I've done, I think I've almost finished the Buddha completely. And I've done some of the branches and the background. The reason I haven't progressed much, I think, is I am not really enjoying doing all the half stitches. And then there aren't many full stitches left in Buddha itself. So most of the stuff that's left is the branches with the flowers. And they're very kind of scattered across. And you have 2-3 stitches here and there. And then you need to change the thread. So it's a little bit annoying, to be honest with you, so I'm finding it hard to stick with it for a while. I was hoping it might be my finish in April when I filmed last, but that was not happening for sure. And then let me show you this one, and then the one that I had the most progress on. So when I came back from holiday, and I did take a few days of stitching completely. Once I finally felt the itch to stitch again, I needed to work on something that wasn't a project I lost or anyhow related to it, or I just felt like I needed a project that I haven't worked on for a while, that has nothing to do with what happened. And so I decided to pick up Spider Lily by Paradise Stitch. And it was a start from last year, I believe, on my own hand-dyed fabric. and I've added 1,000 stitches to it as well. I'm hoping that the fact that I'm in the living room with natural light, you will be able to see the colors better. So this is pretty much spot on, I would say. So I used charcoal red dye on a Belfast linen. So it is this purplish kind of aubergine color for some reason. I was going for a gray, but it turned out this way, but I love it anyways. So it has quite a lot of colors, and a lot of them are 1/2, both for cross stitch and half stitch, which I didn't realize until I picked it up again. And I slightly regret not using Witchelt for it then, because stitching with one strand on a very soft and very, very kind of flexible, fluid, I don't know how to describe it better, linen is not, it's not very enjoyable for me, to be honest. I would much prefer to stitch with one strand on a Witchelt linen. Right, and then the last whip I worked on and made absolutely ton of progress, and that inspired my purchases and plans over the last few weeks, was my Mirabilia. There she is. Miss Dancing Flower. One of my Mania starts last year, and my second in the series that I'm stitching out of 3. So she's actually meant to be stitched on What's a Lily by Witchelt, but I decided to use a different fabric. So first and foremost, she lives in this project bag that I made for her recently. I bought a set of this fabric that's kind of Japanese inspired to make some project bags for my friends for the trip that I had, and I feel like this one just perfectly goes with my Mirabilias. The blues and the purples and the gold, and yeah, they kind of look like feathers or butterfly wings, which reminds me of my Mirabilias. So yeah, it's going to be my Mirabilia bag. And this one uses one color of silk, as you can see, for the flowers, and quite a lot of beads. So about the fabric, I used hand dyed for it instead. So this is 32 count Picture This Plus linen in color Crystal Da Vinci. So it's iridescent and lovely and shiny. And I've got a little bit of it. Actually, let me undo it so you can see better. I'll have to redo it anyways. So I worked on it for, I think, 10 days, 2 weeks. I just could not put it aside, you guys. I am obsessed with Mirabilias. I have been looking for them on eBay and other places, looking for people who stitch them, looking at everyone else's photos and progress. So again, there you can see better all of it that I have now. So she is absolutely stunning, and I've added in those 10 days or 2 weeks 5,000 stitches to her, which is a lot for me, a lot. And I've beaded everything that I possibly can, except for the 3 treasures that are supposed to go here. They're quite large, and though I will add felt strip so I can stitch as I go, I can bead as I go, I don't think it will save me from those large kind of crystally thingies. So yeah, she's absolutely beautiful. I love her. The colors are amazing, and if you get bored of one color palette, you move to a different spot and there's different shades completely, and the way it the way it goes with the fabric color, I think, is just beautiful. It was an absolute joy, and I actually found it really hard to put her aside. I think I only have about 9,000 stitches left, which is usually a lot, which is almost as much as I stitch in a month, and I could potentially finish her in a month, but yeah, we'll see. Quite inspired to stitch a lot of other things now as well. yeah, so those were my, how many was that? 5 whips that I worked on in the last 3.5 months that haven't finished just yet. I'm pretty sure at least one of them will be finished quite soon, but you'll see it when we see each other next. Next bit I wanted to show you was the starts that I had during this time as well. And I will start, let's start with the ones that I do have still left with me. So like I said, when I got, when I went on Instagram and saw someone stitch a design from this book, it was actually the Wheel of the Year that got me absolutely inspired and excited to get it. I kid you not, I was on the tram to work, like I said, and I just went on Amazon and ordered it instantly. And I think next day or whenever it arrived, I was already dyeing fabrics and picking colors for the designs from here, making myself electronic patterns for Cross Stitch Saga. So I started the year of the Wheel of the Year on black Belfast linen, which is probably going to shine through at the moment, but well, we'll have to do with this. So I've only made little progress on it so far, so about 1,000 stitches, I think, maybe even less. But what I decided to do for this one is I wanted to use hand-dyed colors from Stash. I don't have that big of a collection, so for some of the shades I couldn't pick a hand-dyed version at all, and I just went with DMCs. But for the most part, I've just picked hand-dyeds from my stash. And yeah, or designs that or threads that I got for different designs that I haven't even worked on yet. I am finding it really hard to stitch on that black linen, I'll be very honest with you. Though I have glasses for cross stitch and I have good lighting now, I still am struggling to see the weave of the linen. I was considering swapping it for 25 count or for Ada, and I just really don't enjoy stitching on Ada anymore. I'll be honest with you, I only have 2 projects on Ada at the moment, and I'm fine with those, but for this one I love the way it looks on linen, and though it's really tricky, I think I'm just going to persevere, stitch it bit by bit, and you know, get it done this way. Another reason I didn't swap it for, say, 28 or 25 count is I have a frame that is perfect for it, and if I take any different count, it will not fit in there. So yeah, I just need to come back to it, maybe put it on a scroll frame and give it some more love, and hopefully make more progress on it. Next start I had was a companion piece to the Santa's Flight by Barbara Anna, and it is what's it called? It's Christmas Hare, and it's another tiny Santa riding a tiny animal. So it's a tiny start. It's the same fabric as the other Barbara Anna, so it's 32 count Picture This Plus in color lock, and it is all in code for DMC 2/2, and I've only stitched the, what's it called, the robe, the clothes that Santa is wearing. That's it. Nothing else. It's going to turn out perfect because I know the other one did as well on this fabric, but I started it just because I wanted to, but I haven't been drawn to work on it for some reason. Only tiny start on this. And the last one I have with me is a recent start from May, possibly. It doesn't have a project bag, so it's the crinkly packaging. It is one of the older Mill Hills that is a banner on this beautiful Ada with band Ada with decorated edges, and it's called the Rambling Rose House. I scored it on eBay a few months ago, and I absolutely love these banners. I will show you a couple more that I started but that got lost in a few minutes. I love working on these, and no matter that they're on Ada, and I'm not a big fan like I said, but these designs are just perfect on that. So this is this is not even a start, this is almost a finish already. I think I've done 70% already. So this is 18 count Ada from the kit. I feel like there's quite a lot of synthetic fibers in it, not just cotton, if it's got cotton at all. And I have used everything from the kit, so the DMC colors, 2/1, the beads, and there's quite a few embellishments in there as well. I don't think I have them. I think they're upstairs, yeah. There are little birds and little flowers, so I'll show you those when we get to the finish line, but I love how it's turning out. A lot of greens, which is my jam, as you know. And yeah, and I found that number 2, I think, square Nerge hoop is the perfect size to stitch these on. And I got a green one, obviously. So I only have a little bit of fabric left on each side, as you can see. But yeah, it's perfect. And I'll be stitching a few more of these banners. The rest of the starts that I had, like I said, unfortunately were lost in my luggage, and I will be inserting pictures for you here now. So let's go on with the theme of Mill Hill banners. I started 2 while I was on holiday. One was a March 8th start to celebrate the Stitchy Day I had with my friends who came to see me from Moscow, which was brilliant. Very grateful for them to taking the time to come visit and see me in person. We have been online friends so far, but it's been great to meet them and spend the day with them, exchange gifts, you know, have lovely conversations, loads of snacks and tea, and yeah, just wonderful time. So we all started a Mill Hill, and I started this one, which was called Summer Gardening, which was actually a gift from my friend Masha, who I've mentioned quite a few times on this channel before. And I have already so both of these designs I got electronic pattern for my cross stitch saga. So even though the kits were lost and the materials were lost and the progress was lost, I still have electronic patterns, which I think in this case is okay for me to just pick back up what are the materials I'm missing and just stitch them using my stash. So the Summer Gardening uses this lovely fabric that is similar to the sampler, that is similar to the banner I just showed you. So it's this band Ada, which is 18 count and has again these like flowery patterns on the sides, which is still available in 123. So I got that. I ordered the missing beads and missing treasures. And yeah, I'm going to have a restart sometime soon. The other banner that I started on holiday was Pumpkin Garden, which was a March 14th start. I had another Stitchy Day with my other Stitchy friends in Minsk, and I managed to get 3 different designs from this series with these sort of autumny, Halloweeny banners. And I started mine and the girls started theirs. So again, I have got just the electronic patterns for it left, but I have repurchased the fabric, missing beads, missing treasures, and this will be a restart sometime soon. The other 3 starts that were lost, let's talk about the Witch's Road, because that was probably one of the saddest ones. So I saw the beautiful design that Jed X Stitch released in January on her Ko-fi, which was free at that point. I'm not sure if it is still free. You can leave a donation, which I did, or you can just download it for free. It is a design inspired by Agatha, by the show called Agatha All Along, and it is called Witch's Road. She used gorgeous fabric and gorgeous flosses and beads from Stash, and I did the same. I dyed my fabric with liquid red dye, as always, and I picked random flosses from my stash. I had what's it called, Karen Watts Lily silk that I had left over from a different design. I had hand-dyed cottons. I had some Mill Hill and some Miyuki beads in there, and I made quite a lot of progress on it before I took it with me and it got lost. So I was stitching on 32 count Witchet linen with all of the stash, my own stash conversion, as I said, 1/2. I took that whole project with me, all of the flosses, all of the beads, the fabric, obviously my progress. I wanted to show it to my friends because I thought it looked really beautiful, and I wanted to inspire them to possibly look at her designs and start this one as well. And like I said, all of it got lost, and I'm not sure what I will be doing with this one. I want to restart it. I will need to re-dye the fabric. I no longer have any of the flosses that I used, like I said, because they were in there with the project. I would have to repurchase all of them. The beauty of it was picking things from stash and not having to spend extra money on purchasing the hand-dyed flosses, and I don't know. I want to restart it because I think it's absolutely stunning and deserves to be stitched and hung up in my craft room. Yeah, this is the one that's still very bittersweet, so I haven't come back to it just yet. And the other design that I started before I went on holiday and took with me was the Seahorse kit by Mill Hill. That is going to be a companion piece to a stitched one I have already, which is the Starfish. And I started it just before I left, and was even stitching on it on the plane and at the airport and at my parents' place. I managed to stitch the whole Seahorse, some of the frame and some of the background, and I will have to restart it again. Like I said, it's a companion piece. Out of the whole series, I wanted specifically this one, so I will have to think of how to do it. The only problem with this one is that I had the original kit, the original ceramic button, and the companion piece it's going with is an older kit with a ceramic button as well, which they obviously no longer make. I have tried finding a similar button and I have failed so far. If anyone has a ceramic star button, which is this, you know, grayish kind of ecru color that you don't need and are willing to sell to me, please reach out. I'd be so grateful if I could buy it off you if you don't need it. I know there exists a replacement by another button company, but because, like I said, my stitched one has the ceramic one, I want to try and find a similar one. Or if you know a crafter in the UK or in EU who makes ceramic buttons to replace these from Mill Hill, I would be grateful for the link as well, or just message me on Instagram and we can chat. Yeah, so those were 4, and then the last design I started in Minsk and that got lost was actually this was a very interesting one. I was not going to restart it because it's a Russian kit and I don't have access to them here. However, just this morning before I sat down to film this video, I received a gift from my lovely friend Masha from Minsk, who wanted to cheer me up after my losses and to inspire me to get back to stitching, including this design, and she sent me the kit in the package again. So this is Tea Admirers. Let me see if I can open it and show you without the glare. here we go. These are Tea Admirers by Andriana. And it's one of the series, I think there's 4 at this point. There's Tea Admirers, Coffee Admirers, and then there's, I think Spirits or something. Basically, there's 2 designs. One of them is with teacups, one of them is with coffee cups, and then there's tea pots and coffee pots. And out of all 4, I like this one the most, and is the only one that I want to stitch. It has white Aida and cotton flosses, which are not the best quality, and everyone that side of the world moans about them continuously. I don't mind them too much, but they're not the best quality. They're quite dry and have lint on them quite often, so I'm not the best to work with. But the colors are beautiful, and there's a lot of greens, as you can see. So I actually started it on a gifted piece of linen by a Russian dyer. I don't remember the name at this point. It was a 28 casual light green linen, which I feel like was absolutely perfect for this design. So what I think I might do is, because she only does one-offs and doesn't have a permanent collection, I will just see if any dyers in the UK can replicate that, or if I can maybe try and replicate that myself. But yeah, this is going to be a restart, I guess, as well, which I'm really glad, because they are lovely and the colors are lovely. And actually a lovely surprise was when I opened the kit and started it in Minsk, I found that there is a link to download a file for Cross Stitch Saga here. The last bit of stitching that I want to show you is a bit of haul, and then I want to do a little life update. So I haven't got much to show, because most of the purchases I made during this time were gifts for my friends back at home, and some of the things I got, like I said, in Minsk got lost. I haven't been buying much because of having to kind of spend more money than I expected on restoring my clothes and things and documents. So there's only a few things here that I have got, but they are absolutely delightful, and I cannot wait to stitch all of them. So let me show you a couple of Mill Hill kits that I got. Some of them actually arrived in January, or I ordered them in January, and they only arrived in February. So I got myself one of the new designs from the new collection, which is the Bunny Garden. I love this design. I think it's so beautiful, and I would love to stitch it. One of the veggies is swapped for a carrot button. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, and it's just absolutely adorable. And I also got the other 2 jeweled designs from the series, like I said. So I got the jeweled pumpkin and the jeweled apple. Very excited to stitch both of these. The last Mill Hill I got was the Christmas bells. I've been meaning to buy this one for a while, and it's just been floating about my basket and my wish list, and I finally hit add to basket. What else? One pattern that I got off eBay from someone who had already stitched it is Talon Emblem, the scissor sampler. I have been looking at it for quite some time. I have seen Debbie from Mama Bear Stitcher finish it a few weeks ago, and I fell in love and I wanted to stitch it myself. So I was glad to get, you know, a second-hand copy that was a bit cheaper than a new one, which is still in absolutely perfect condition. So I'll be stitching this. I've already made myself, again, an electronic pattern for Saga, and what I've done is I don't mind it, but my husband is not a big fan of alphabets. He saw the design, he loved it, and he was like, it has an alphabet. Are you going to stitch the alphabet? And I said, I mean, I don't have to. Do you have anything in mind? And he thought maybe I could replace it with a phrase instead. So I thought the perfect phrase for this design would be the classic, my soul is fed with needle and thread. And so I've recharted the bits where the alphabet is to say that, and then just to have my initials here at the bottom. But I'm yet to start it. I think this one has got... Most of the colors here are DMC, and there's 5 weeks colors. I haven't looked at my stash or haven't even thought of starting it just yet, but yeah, got the pattern. And then the last bit that I'll show you is, because I've been obsessed with Mirabilia and stitching on the dancing flower, and just having the absolute best time, not wanting to put her down, I've been looking at other designs that I haven't seen before, and I got 2. So this, I believe, is still in print and you can still find it. I got it off eBay though. It's the Garden Muses, and it's one of the older ones, sort of, I don't want to say vintage, vintagey looking ones, you know. It's very different from your modern Mirabilias. It's MD44. What is the year on this? Is there a year? 1999. Wow. So I have actually been looking for a design to put above my TV. I currently still have the Stony Creek Oh Holy Night nativity scene there, and I know it's May and it's Christmas and I'm not supposed to, not supposed to, but it's very much out of season. But the spot we have there is kind of short and wide, and there aren't many designs in my stash or in my finished collection that I could put up there. But when I saw this one, I thought they could be a perfect replacement for the other seasons. We do have a garden, we love gardening, and we both loved this design. When I showed it to my husband, he absolutely agreed with me that it needs to be up here. The colors are not showing the best. It actually calls for Laurel Witchet linen, which I got, and I got the beads that I didn't have in stash, and it's DMC colors only. I don't think there's any Krynic or silk. And I cannot wait to start this one. I have made myself, again, electronic pattern for this. I cannot wait. The only thing that's stopping me from starting it is it's, like I said, because it's quite wide, I need a really large scroll frame for it. And I didn't have one, so I ordered it from the local crafter, and I'm going to start them quite soon. And then the last bit is my first out of print Mirabilia. I wouldn't say I got a deal on her, but I wanted to stitch her so badly that I just couldn't resist. So I've been looking at her for quite some time now. It's not really something I want to see in my home, but I badly wanted to stitch her. And I offered my mom-in-law to stitch her, and she said she would absolutely love that. And it is Madonna of the Garden. I think it's one of the most beautiful Mirabilia designs. The colors, the combination again of the beads with the flosses and a bit of metallic on this one. And I think this looks like Nougat by Belfast, slightly purplish gray linen. I think it calls for Steel Grey Belfast or Dapple Grey Witchelt, neither of which I could find online, as in not even showing that they're out of stock. So I'm not sure, maybe they've changed their names. I've shown it to my mom-in-law, who, like I said, I'm going to stitch it for. She suggested using green instead, like the Water Lily Witchelt that I've used for my other designs. So I might do that. So I'll see when I get to her. She's quite a large one as well. I have got the missing beads for her, but it's not going to be a start anytime soon. I have to finish the other Mirabilias first, and then I can stitch her, but she's absolutely beautiful. One of the most beautiful ones, like I said, and it is MD79, and it is from 2004. So this is going to be a gift. I think this is all for my stitching. I'll just spend a few minutes talking to you about my life update and what I've been up to. So besides what happened, the rest of the time I haven't seen you has been good. Work has been fine, but I have been doing more of the things I love lately, so reading more, playing video games, and stitching. Like I said, I finished Dragon Age Veilguard just before I went on holiday. I played more of Witcher 3, and then just a few weeks ago we've been looking for a game we could play together with my husband, and we have found a co-op mode for Elden Ring, which I've tried playing before by myself, and I found it A, really difficult because it's not my kind of typical RPG, and B, really kind of melancholic and sad when I was playing it by myself. And now that we're playing it with my husband together, it's much more fun, and it's easier obviously because there's two of us. He's more of a like close combat samurai character, and I'm a magician, sort of casting spells from a bit of a distance, so it's a good team and it's a lot of fun. I have also gotten into the whole Fourth Wing series thanks to Charlie, who I met at the Stitchy Days in Nottingham. Hi Charlie. And she was stitching a design from the book, I think in February, but maybe last time as well. And we were chatting, and I said I've heard so many people mention the books and how they're obsessed with them, and I just decided to give in and try for myself, and I absolutely fell in love. The romance is great, but what I really love is the story and how she just manages to just as you think you know what's going on and you know everything about the book, she manages, the author, to just turn your world upside down. And yeah, I absolutely love the books. I have gotten all three now. I finished the first one in a week because I couldn't put it down. And then I started the second one just before I went on holiday. My paperback copy was lost together with my luggage, but then I bought a new one when I came back home. And I have been, as I've said to Charlie, I've been spreading the gospel of the Fourth Wing Church, and gotten a few of my friends to fall in love with the series as well. So it's been a lot of fun discussing it with them. I haven't finished book 2 yet. I've been busy stitching and doing other things, and I've been trying to kind of balance out my hobbies, because the week that I was reading the first book was just all of my free time was spent reading the book. I think I spent one day on Sunday, besides a bit of the time on spent on chores and things, just reading and doing nothing else. So yeah. I have also got another thing we've started, another thing that we got into with my husband very recently is vinyls, and got ourselves a vinyl player and some music on vinyl, which has been great. He's been mostly he's been the initiator of this purchase, but it's one of those things that you don't realize you need it until you actually get it. We're both big on music. We've always listened to music since we were kids. Same with our families. We've always had music playing in the house. We love going to shows of our favorite bands, and having this something tangible and something you can listen to any time of the day without ads, which sounds ridiculous but is a thing today, right? Is something that has been really invaluable. It's not a cheap hobby, and none of ours are, so we have no business getting into another hobby, but it's been absolutely wonderful. We've only got a few vinyls so far, but we got some of our favorite ones and have been having the best time listening to them. So there's been that. Yeah, I think besides, like I said, besides what happened with my stuff, it's been fine. That obviously affected me and my mental health. Besides, you know, having to actually restore the things and get the documents redone, and losing my stitching in the suitcases. It's something that has never happened to me before, and something that I couldn't even imagine could happen. And I have definitely been a bit more sort of sensitive when it comes to, you know, safety and security when I'm out and about. So that's going to take some time to kind of work through, but yeah. It's been great to come back to stitching. I was really worried it might take me a while, and I think in the end, I think it was only a couple of weeks that I lost in March, and I've been enjoying stitching again. And as you might have guessed by my progress, I haven't really been following my yearly plans at all, and I've been really enjoying that. And I think that's probably the way I'll be moving forward. No plans, nothing concrete, just pick up whatever I'm feeling like stitching, and that makes me the happiest and the least anxious, and then it doesn't become a chore. As you might see, I haven't worked on Siri, unfortunately, or on the Encore Poppy field. Both of those are fine. They're at home, they're upstairs, none of those got lost. It's just that I have been either feeling like I want to stitch on something small and finish it quite quickly, or stitch on something that is bigger but still finishable sort of in the next month or two. And so I haven't been feeling like picking up these large projects of mine. So yes, that's been all of my stitching in the last 3.5 months. I am hoping that I will see you again in the next month or so, not longer than that, but we'll see how it goes. I think the next video might be, we're kind of almost in the middle of May here. I think it might be my mid-year whip parade at the beginning of July. We have another Stitchy Day to look forward to in Nottingham, which is great. I have another trip coming up in summer, so lots of good things to look forward to. And I think I'll be back at the beginning of July to show you all of my whips at that point, that I'm hoping to have fewer of, or maybe have another update with some finishes as well. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed looking at my cross stitch, and if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below or message me on Instagram, Maria_the_Green_Stitcher. I hope you will have a wonderful stitchy May and June, and you are having starts or finishes or whatever your heart desires. And I will see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful stitchy time. Thank you. Bye.